Sunday's game? Where do you feel like you guys can improve on third down?
Yeah, I mean, obviously going into that last drive, we were 1 for 8 before that 2 minute, and had a couple conversions on those short yardage situations in there to make it look a little bit more respectable stat-wise. But sometimes the stats don't tell the whole story. I mean, we know where we can improve in those areas. There was just a few things that were just a tick off, and that's what happens. That's what happens in the league, and that's what happens when you play really good defenses. Like I said last week, at this time, they'll expose you if you're not on it, and we were on it in some of those situations. We'll improve.
Kyren Corum combination seems like it's kind of come to life the last couple of weeks. What have you seen, and what do you attribute that to?
I think it's what you just said. It's just kind of come to life, right? Just getting into the flow of the game. Particularly for Corum, but even for Kyren to be able to come back and just take a breather. I know if you ask him, and that's why Kyren is who he is. He could go 100 plays every single day if he asked him to, and he probably could and would. But again, just being able to balance those guys out. 60 minutes is a long game for the 3.5 hours that you play, that window, on top of a 17-game season. So being able to just balance those guys, however it unfolds, at the end of the game, it is what it is, but we'll always evaluate that, and it was a good 1-2 punch last week.
Both those guys seem to have their thrive. What's the challenge when Kyren's going well or Blake's going well to send him to the bench and get the other guy in?
Yeah, I mean, it'll always be kind of the challenge, but the good part is you trust both of them. And when someone goes to the bench, he's going to be back out there at some point, and hopefully even hungrier to keep doing what he's doing within the framework of what we're asking him to do. So good problem to have. I'm glad we have this problem. If you want to call it a problem, it's not a problem amongst us. It's just, hey, there's one ball for a lot of really good football players.
How did Steve look at practice yesterday?
Good. It was just good to get him back playing football, because again, you can do all you want, getting yourself rehabbed and all that, but to return and actually play football is a whole different beast, So happy for him that he was able to get out there. Happy for us that we're able to get a guy like Steve, back out there and potentially ready to go.
How do you guys get Tutu more involved as a pass catcher? I know he's contributing in other ways, but in terms of more targets.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, Tutu's doing everything that's being asked within the framework of each and every single play. For the first 3 weeks, couldn't ask for more the way he approaches it and what he does. Now, I know the stat sheet doesn't show it. I do think he's been extremely valuable in other ways right now and in the pass game because of the threat that he poses. It's a 17-game season, hopefully more for us. There's a long way to go. We're at the start of this marathon right now, and you guys have all seen Tutu, perform at a high level. His time's going to come. I don't know when, but it will come. I believe in that guy, and more importantly, his teammates do.
Like Puka can kind of, do everything that you can ask of a receiver. How does that affect your, the way that you use him against specific opponents?
Yeah, he can't throw the ball, so don't let him fool you on that. So he's stuck out there, but yeah, you can definitely. You can definitely hand it to him. You can throw it to. He does it all right. I don't want to call him an old school football player, but because I don't even know what that means anymore. But he's a special person. He's a special football player. I think I've said it for 3 years. You can say that in this setting. You can say that to him. You can say it in front of the team, because he's always going to be the same person when he comes out. He loves this game. He loves his teammates. It's a cool thing to watch. So. Again, the more you give him, it seems like the better he does.
Not Matthew specific, but in general, your philosophy about quarterbacks wearing the play sheets on their wrists. What are the benefits of that, and are there things that makes it harder to do?
In my experience with it, the wristband is up to whether it be the coordinator, heck, whatever it is, but if the quarterback wants it or if he doesn't want it. It's no secret NFL offenses are pretty wordy, and what Matthew does in terms of memorizing these plays, visualizing these plays, because that's most important, and then being able to articulate it in a urgent fashion, where obviously guys can understand it and do all that within the 40 seconds that you got. It's pretty impressive. Not many people can do what he does with that. So, again, I've been a part of it where you wristband the third downs. Sometimes they're the little wordier ones, might have some cans and stuff like that. Maybe the red zone goes with it. Matthew doesn't want it, and rightfully so, because he's I can't imagine anyone better at doing what he does in terms of, like I just said, getting that all out there.
Seen quarterbacks, you've been around them that earlier in their career, maybe they did need it or want it, and then as they progress and learn more, that they don't need it.
We didn't start the wristband until 2018, and I say we, just my time in the league before that, from Cleveland to Atlanta to there. We started in 18, and what I learned and what we learned at that time was the quarterback at the time did like it. Jimmy did like it, and so again, it's just personal preference. I guess I can't, and I'm trying to think like what quarterback I've been around that didn't have it that all of a sudden did. Like Jimmy was used to that from New England. That's what they did, So I don't think, dating back to his rookie year, you'd have to ask him. It's been any different for him.
Back to Puka for a second. I mean, he's among the most targeted receivers in the NFL, but just one target in the red zone so far. Do you feel like defenses approach him differently when you get down there, or what do you kind of attribute that to?
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret, especially when you play teams like Philly who play a ton of man coverage. I mean, they're, whether you want to call it, whether they're cheating that way, double stars coverage, if you want to just be vague, guys are going to, cheat that way, and you're going to put more resources toward that, and so you got to kind of find that delicate balance of, I don't ever want to say a guy is a decoy, but you also don't want to force it when there's, two guys on one dude, because there's other guys that are more incapable. So each and every week's different. It's just based on, what the philosophy of that defensive coordinator and that defense is doing.
What kind of challenge do you think DeForest Buckner brings to an offense?
Yeah, he's still a stud. I fortunately had a lot of really good years with him from 17 to 19. Stud of a human, more so than even a player, but still doing it at such a high level. Seems like he's been playing in this league for forever. And then I looked at it, and he's only 31. So, I hope for him he has as many more years as he wants playing at the level that he is. So, yeah, he's a force. He's huge. If he's not wrecking havoc in the backfield, he at least has his arms up, and I'm sure he could touch the rim standing on his 2 feet, 10 foot tall. So he's a problem. Our guys know that, and be a great challenge. And like we say every week, we love those challenges.
What issues does Kyren present to you?
He's just around the ball. He's always been that way, So whether it be Minnesota or Indianapolis, you can just tell guys that instinctually just get it. Like they're just at the ball, they're just making plays. You guys know who the players around this league, that I'm talking about. He's one of them. So he's a big part of their defense and what they're doing. This is a really good defense led by a really good coordinator who play with a lot of pride, and they play really hard. We got our hands full, so whether it be Bynum, whether it be DeForest Buckner, they're all problems. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're playing in rhythm. They're playing good. They're playing together. Good players across the board. There's really no weak link or no weakness really of the offense. Really good O-line, skill players. Obviously, Kubi looks comfortable, and they got an elite running back that can make big plays at any time. So, they stay on schedule. They play really well together, and it's going to be a tough challenge.
When it comes to stopping or slowing down Jonathan Taylor, is it similar to the challenge you just had with Saquon Barkley, or there's some differences?
I think they're both elite backs in this league, so in that case, they're similar. And those guys, any one-on-one tackle in space is going to be extremely tough. And the similarities that at any point in the game, you're always on edge because those guys can break it at any point. So obviously, we've played Saquon a few times over the last years. Haven't played Jonathan Taylor in a while, but what I've seen on tape so far this year has been extremely, extremely impressive. So yeah, it'll be an extremely tough challenge.
What do you feel like you guys did differently against Saquon this time that had better results?
It's really just the guys coming to play, pad level, getting off the ball, rallying, good tackling, playing good sound defense, making them earn anything. Wasn't anything crazy scheme-wise, just the guys playing ball.
What's your evaluation of the defense through 3 weeks?
Of what?
Of the run defense through 3 weeks.
I think they've been good. It's been stout. Nothing's been easy. It has been a lot of vertical seams. Been tackling really well, playing physical, playing tough. When you turn on the tape, it's a defense you're proud to be a part of, especially versus a run.
What has Tank McCullough's playmaking at the dimebacker position meant to this defense?
He's been that way really since he got in the game last year. And, we love Tank. He does a lot of different stuff for us. He's smart. He's tough. He's versatile. He's a great tackler. And based on the game plan situationally, we can match him up with certain things. And he always makes the most of his opportunities. he always seems to make a big play, whether it's a pick, whether it's a sack, something like that. And he's just continued to do that, picked up where he left off last year.
Quentin Lake has just been around the ball a lot this year. How do you feel like he's elevated, his playmaking and his ability to, just be impactful in coverage?
To me, he's been the same really 2 years ago when he started playing nickel. And then obviously had a great year last year, would have played every single defensive snap on the season besides that last game we were resting him for the playoffs. And, he's just picked up where he left off. He has great ball skills. He's a great tackler. He plays extremely hard. He's really good on the perimeter control, and he just does a lot of stuff for us. And, we love him as a player. And to me, he's just continued to elevate his game, just gotten that much better just because he's a guy that learns from his experiences and, he plays tough, so we love him.
Emmanuel Forbes kind of grayed out in that game, and what are you looking?
He made some good plays, and then he was put in some tough positions, and obviously at some times we were pressuring the QB, and he got put on some isolations, and we love Emmanuel Forbes, and we trust him to be able to make those plays.
Sunday seemed like a pretty good representation of your violence with which he plays football. As a coordinator on the sideline, what does it feel like physically, emotionally when he makes a hit like that?
Yeah, those are energy plays, so, anytime someone makes a big play, the sideline's definitely getting juiced and they're excited to go back out. And Tank's kind of always been that way. He's a guy that, guys feed off his energy, and we're kind of like that really as a unit. And anytime somebody makes a big play, all the other guys are happy, all their teammates are happy, and that's what you want to see.
Poona Ford had that first big sack. How is he fitting into your defense?
He's awesome. He's exactly what we wanted, exactly what we hoped for. He does a great job, obviously, in the run game, and then you could see, obviously, in that pass where he's able to burst and close and finish and get to the QB, and he's just been a great fit for us. He's a great veteran presence in the room. He fits in great with those guys, Kobe, Fisk, and TD, and he's just an excellent fit and an excellent player.
Jared got his first sack of the season on Sunday. In those ways and in ways that maybe don't show up on the stat sheet, how has he made an impact and his presence felt through the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, he gets a lot of attention, and and a lot of times when you get that attention, other guys get ops, and he's been playing good. I think last week was he's in his stance, he's seeing the right thing, he's playing good down in and down out. We see he's not just one of those guys that's a rusher, come in and get a bunch of sacks. He's an every single down player that happens to be an elite rusher, and he's playing physical, he's getting knocked back, he's playing hard, and he's exactly where we want him to be right now.
What are your thoughts on Josaiah Stewart so far?
I love him. Absolutely love him. I see him as where he's the third and he can go in any situation. Really good rusher. You can trust him to do his job, play within the scheme of the defense, and he's a playmaker. He's tough versus the run. He runs versus the ball. He loves football. Les and the scouts did a great job identifying him as, what we call a Ram. He definitely fits that mold.
What do you feel like the drop-off came from how you guys played defense the first half and at the first drive, and then kind of what happened as the game went on?
Yeah, I contributed. They made a lot of plays. There's definitely some calls, you'd like to have back. There's definitely some things we'd like to do better. There's definitely, whether it's a little thing here and there that we'd probably like to have back. But at the end of the day, I give them credit. It's a really good offense, and, you take one thing away, they go to another thing, and that's really what happened.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. Sorry, I was going to ask. I don't got any boogers, do I forgot to ask Chase. I'm straight. Stu, nobody gave me an answer. Everybody laughed. There's totally could be boogers in my notes. Okay, sweet.
Coach, talk about your passion for this game. Where did that start in your life?
At a very young age. I feel like I owe a lot of my football journey to my father, who started. Was my first football coach, but obviously my brothers as well. Being in the backyard, being a tackling dummy at a very, very young age. It reminds me of the clip I know, I think went a little viral, of AD and his son going practicing drills at the house. That was me and my brother. So if that paints any image.
You had a big play against the Colts several years ago. What do you remember about that play, and how, if at all, did that help you kind of start your journey to where you're at now?
Yeah. You always everybody remembers their first one. Third down coming up on an in cut in overtime. me and Matthew, I feel like we're having a good game. I remember playing Julian Blackman was one of the safeties for the Colts. He had played with my older brother at Utah, so I'm like make sure I have a good showing against somebody that my brother knows. Just being like, holy cow, when I put my foot in the ground and there's nobody in there and this ball is coming right to me, and like, man, I got to find a way in the end zone. And like not knowing, everybody's screaming, everybody's slapping my head. I'm screaming, and then just, seeing the post-game clip of I just launched my first touchdown as far as I could in the end zone. Luckily, I got that ball back, but I do remember that part of it.
Matthew took a pretty good hit before overtime in that game. What do you remember about he was having to stay out there?
I think those were some of the early moments, especially in my rookie year, of trying to figure out kind of how our team operates and finding that the toughness that our offense holds. Definitely a lot of it is on the weight of number 9. It's on his shoulders, and the grit and the intensity that he plays with and the strain that he's willing to have at the quarterback position is something that it overflows into the rest of our offense for sure.
It's just been 3 weeks, but you're at the top of almost every receiving chart except have not yet got a receiving touchdown. So what do you think it's going to take to break through, and I guess how hungry are you just knowing that you haven't gotten there yet in your game?
I think it's always exciting to get in the end zone, but I think it's been a part of our emphasis as an offense to find ways just to get in the end zone, whether it's running the ball, and I think that's something that we take pride in. That's something that will get you to red zone offenses and red zone touchdowns is running the ball well. So doing my job in that, because I know there are times even when in the games that we've won, in the Tennessee game and in the Houston game, there are moments where in the red zone where I could have done a better job blocking to get Kyren in the red zone, to get Blake in the end zone. So doing my part in that, and then also just taking care of my opportunities, knowing when my number's called in that area. I know I'm always wanting to every play take to do my job first, and then also try to get in the end zone. Well, I think trusting the process, being in the meeting rooms, and just being in having the time to understand what Matthew's thinking, how our concepts are being installed, and where the quarterback's going and where my opportunities are versus the defenses that we're playing. Whether understanding we're getting our indicators, whether it's man versus zone, and then just going to fundamentals. I think that's something that Coach Yarbs, I'm grateful for his cues during practice, and especially on game day. Fundamentals will lead you to victory. So always having that in the back of my mind.
Run game against Tennessee, but what does Kyren and Blake, what they've done the last 2 weeks, how has that helped your passing?
I think when Matthew has a chance to manipulate less defenders, I think it's better for our receiver room 100%. So when people are coming up to fit the line of scrimmage, and they do such a great job, especially of their shaves and their ability to step up in pass protection, and that allows us, and you want to execute one for yourself, but also for those guys, because you know the strain it is for them to be picking up blitzes, the communication it requires between the O-line. So it makes it really fun, especially to block for some of those. And then also to the question earlier of, man, I got to do a better job of straining to that whistle finally blows, because they're doing a good job of running through arm tackles and finishing until they can.
Puka, you're transitioning now into a runner. Talk a little bit about that.
I think it feels like the game slows down a little bit, but then also just trying to be more aware. I trust my physicality and my strength of being some of my strong suits, and then just trying to never be in a rush. I think sometimes I give defenders the easy way out of sometimes falling down when I'm maybe a little out of control. So being as sturdy as I can, but then also being protective of the ball as well.
How do you feel Tutu's impact on play and on the offense in general, when he's not necessarily in the stat?
What was that? Sorry?
How do you feel Tutu's impact on a play or on the offense in general when he's not in the stat column?
I think it's huge. I know there's times that where Tutu's in the quarterback meetings with me as well. We're in there and we're having communication, and his ability to understand every position, I think, in our offense is something that is his skill set, a strength to his skill set, as well as being a vertical threat. And I think just his hands make it possible for every route for him to be run. And I think that's something that is exciting for us in our room when we watch him, because not everybody has the speed, but his ability to play aggressive to the ball is something that I enjoy watching from a part of his game, and it impacts everybody because he's known for being the smaller guy that is just tracking the ball 45 yards down the field, but somebody who's not scared to step into across the middle and snag that ball.
Well, just after back-to-back weeks on the road, how much are you looking forward to being back at SoFi, especially with the energy the home crowd gave you guys in week 1?
Yeah, it's always nice to be back home. Right? Nice to get an extra night of sleep in your bed. So it always feels good. And then, just to have our home crowd, see everybody wearing blue. And it was nice, especially going back to think of how it was week 1 to have everybody rocking and be back on our home turf and defend our home field.
How y'all doing? Smooth.
What do you learn the most from a game like Sunday? What do you get out of it?
Games won in the first half. Like we came out hot, forced a turnover, was able to capitalize off that. But offense has to be better, defense has to be better, our special teams has to be better. If we're not working all as one, nobody's doing anything right. That's what's going to happen. We had that game one in the bag, we lost that ourselves. Can't give credit to nobody else.
Is that something that, like, when you think about that, you dig deep inside and say, hey, I get it, we're not going there again?
I'm sorry, you said what?
Is it something that you sort of understand having gone through it? Like, we don't want to go there again?
Oh, it's fine. I mean, it happens to everybody. You know what I mean? I've been on sides of the game where I've come back in the second half. I've been on sides of the game where I've lost in the second half. It's not anything I'm new to, but I'm upset with it just because we had that game in the bag. We lost that ourselves. Like I said, you can't give credit to nobody else.
Where did you see them during the second half?
I don't think it was any let up. I think it was just they started executing, lower throws. They started hitting, some smaller throws, some quicker throws, get the ball out a little bit faster. Their run game was stopped. They couldn't run the ball on us. So that, and especially when they were down, they were forced to throw the ball. And, we just didn't execute. We wasn't running games. It was kind of just straight rushing. And, as the game kind of went on, they started coming back. We just kind of, on the defensive side, I can't speak for the offense. They was doing their own thing, and they was handling business the way they should have. But we just have to be better.
We talked to you so many times about Saquon's kind of frustrating that ability to model that up gets kind of lost in the flow of how the game went.
Nah, I mean, like we said, you stop the run, you put yourself in a very good position to beat them. We stopped the run. I mean, I don't know how many yards he had, but it was nothing impressive. And, you go up against, the rest of their offense. They have dogs across the, field. They got Devontae, they got AJ, they got, Goddard, or Goddard, how you say it. They got dogs across on their skill positions. And, Jalen, he's a good quarterback. If you don't respect his throwing ability, I know a lot of people go like, oh, he can't throw, he's only a runner. Like, nah, he can throw. Like, that's he's a quarterback in the National Football League for a reason. Like, I don't know why people would be saying that. So, like, that's just on us. We lost that game ourselves, like I said. I mean, he is playing his best brand of football right now, and he's who he should have been coming out. This is exactly how he is. He's dotting stuff up. He can roll out the pocket. He's fast. He's faster than a lot of people think. So, you kind of have to be cautious of it. And, like, they've only given up 2 sacks, so you got to look at it. You got to be respectful of their O-line. They got dogs all across their O-line, but you got to know where the advantages are, where the good matchups are. I'm feeling pretty confident what we have in the ability we have to take advantage of that.
What did you guys do to kind of slow down Barkley, and does that translate into this week with Jonathan Taylor?
We just did our 1 of 11. It's the same thing. We treating him the same way we treat Saquon. You just do your 1 of 11. We're not packing the box. We're not sending, bringing a bunch of blitzes or anything like that. We're worried about the 5 guys up front. Our 5 guys versus their 5 guys, and I'm liking us.
Jared, I asked you this after week 1, but do you feel like you've done a better job of varying your pass rush as opposed to, what you thought you did in that first game?
Yeah, I definitely think I did a lot better. I definitely think there's still a lot more room for growth. I feel like this week is a better challenge for that, especially, with their offensive line. They don't really chip as much as other teams and everything like that. They kind of have their trust in their 5 up front. Maybe a little running back chip here and there, but nothing too egregious. So I'm liking my opportunities this week.
What was it like for you just getting your first sack of the season, especially amid all the attention that you've drawn and gotten to this point?
I mean, it was cool. I mean, it's just a matter of time till it happens. I'm just waiting till, it's kind of like a waterfall. Like one little stone breaks, everything's coming through. Like, I'm not worried about nothing.
When you see Jonathan Taylor on tape, what jumps out to you?
He's a home run hitter. Like, you give him a gap, he's gonna take it to the house. Like I said, the O-line's really good, so they put him in a good position. They do their 1 of 5. Adding the tight end or 2, a 1 of 6, 1 of 7. They all block really well. They run their feet, and then once he kind of has that one little gap, he can take it off. He's a fast dude. I mean, he had that big run against the Broncos the other day, and he was gone.
All right.
Cool. Y'all have a good one.